Hey everybody, this is Perch. Back to comics. Okay, so here we go. Here's a mail, and I want to say on the offset before I read this, I think that black and white comics, published, is one of those things that people complain about. Every time I talk about it, people in the comments are like, I would never buy a black and white comic. Okay, fine. Maybe you're not the audience. Maybe it's not for you, as they say. But I think black and white comics are an interesting strategy. I think it's something that people need to wrap their head around. I think it's a product that in theory is easier to print, easier to produce, cheaper. And I think that in terms of a blanket strategy, and what I mean by a blanket strategy is for comics to be successful at the publisher level, you need to be everywhere and you need to meet all the needs everywhere. There's an expression that goes, meet the customer where they are. And what that means is no matter where you think the customer should be, no matter what you think the strategy should be, the successful answer, the right answer, is go where your customers are. It's in other words, it's not about you. It's about where your customers are willing to spend money. Do that. There's a lot of very poor artists out there who, did what they did for artistic reasons and are broke. You need to go where your audience is. That's the right answer. So anyway, this mail goes, hello, Perch. Long-time viewer, big fan of your videos. Your car rides back and forth for work always make my car rides back and forth for work more fun. Thank you. Recently, you've been putting out videos suggesting Marvel or DC go with the tankobon style format of smaller books and cheaper paper with black and white illustrations. The big two have gone down similar routes as before with their large, cheap, black and white essential showcase reprints. They have. Now, the person who wrote this mail is about to identify the problem in the next sentence, literally the next sentence. Are you ready for it? It says around $15 to $16 for 20 issues of Silver Age titles. And recently, with a small-ish sized Mighty Marvel Masterworks, $16 for 10 issues of Silver Age titles. Okay, well, I'm going to continue the mail, but why is that a problem? Do you know why? Because you're going to market. This comic book is going to market. It's going to market against competition. And the competition in this case are Viz black and white reprint comics. Those comics are sold at $6.99. So we could talk about all kinds of other things. Silver Age is right stories, wrong, black and white color, etc. But basically, you're putting a $16 comic against a $6 comic. That's what you're doing. That's more than double. It's almost 3 times the cost. If it's going to be 3 times the cost, it has to be perceived as 3 times the value. And it's not. That's the problem. And by the way, Marvel, DC, if you're listening right now, when you go and put out reprints in this format, don't call it like reprints. Old comics here. If you go and you look at what manga is doing, and in these volumes, it's like, hey, here's volume 18 of the story. The audience knows that they're reading something that, is reprinted or published before, but they don't think about it because you're not shoving it in their face like, this comic is old. Western publishers do this all the time. They're like, here's something from the 70s before you were born. It's a comic book. It costs $10 more. Why the fuck are you doing that? It's a terrible way. A terrible way. It would be like, and this has not been my problem, but it'd be like if you were trying to date, and you're like, hey, everybody, I've got a small dick. Who wants a guy with a small dick? Because my dick, it's small. That's not good. That's not good bait. And for me, it'd be a huge lie. And I mean a huge lie. Okay. Anyway, it all comes back to dick. Look, you're not competing. When you have a $16 product sitting next to a $6 product, and the $16 product is bending over backwards to tell you how old it is, what the fuck are you doing? You're fired. You've done it wrong. Anyway, let's continue with the mail. It says, as someone who spends a lot of time browsing for trades at several LCSs near me, I can say that the essential showcase titles seem to have been a dud with the collector market, with these trades usually being heavily discounted and skipped over since they came out, while MMWs are also fairly underrepresented in the direct market comic stores and don't seem to have broken through to regular retail in most places. Well, they haven't. And if you talk to places like Five Below, I read that mail like a month ago. They say they're asking for it. Five Below would like the mighty Marvel Masterworks and inquired to Marvel and Disney to get them. And we're told, yeah, maybe we'll get them to you later. And never followed up. So the price point is wrong, by the way. $16 is too high, for sure. That is the core problem. But also a core problem is nobody seems to give a fuck about actually growing that business. That's why it's not working. It's not that it's black and white. It's because nobody is caring enough to actually push that market. And look, I know I'm a different kind of channel because people are used to going out to videos on a channel, be like, and the commentator's like, the woke gay, fuck gay, no gay, bad gay, trans, bad trans, woke. That's what they're used to. And on this channel, it's like comic book companies are stupid. And people, you're like, oh yeah, it's because of the woke gay trans. I'm like, no, it's not because of that. It's because they don't have any kind of business sense. They're like, huh. It'd be easier if you talked about the woke gay trans. I don't know, like, but woke gay trans. It's like, yeah, no business strategy. Anyway, let me finish this mail. I'm getting distracted. It said, do you think that these lines are evidence of what could happen if the big two tried to fully embrace the tankobon format, or is the intersection of black and white and small book size enough to get wider adoption of reprint chains in larger retail stores? I'd love to get your opinion on this, and if you are more familiar with the exact numbers of how these other reprint lines performed based on your retailer experience. They performed okay, but they were too expensive. Look, that was the feedback. That went back to Marvel. It's like, yeah, there's definitely an audience for this stuff. But look, you got a trade paperback here that you're selling for $20, and it's full color, and it's got a thicker paper, and it looks nicer, and everything else is $20. And then sitting right next to it is a kind of shitty designed phone book that you kind of went out of your way to make look like ass. And that one you're charging, $4 less. Now, granted, there's more comics in there, but the quality is way, way less. But the cost is only $4 less. So it's not a mover. People are just going to save the extra $4 and buy the trade, or wait for it to go on discount because I've got them hanging around on the shelf. They're just going to do that. And by the way, the audience you're trying to attract here is actually not comic book fans, not collectors, people going to the direct market. The audience you're trying to attract are the people who are into manga, and those people are going to Target or Walmart or the dollar store, wherever the hell they're going. That's where they're buying the comics. And so if you're trying to sell, it's a wrong price point, marketed in the wrong location. I think black and white tankobon books would work for the big two, but here's what you need to do. Grab you made enough money off Civil War. Take Civil War, print it black and white. You need to have a good trade design, which means and as sad as it is, go to Barnes & Noble, look at, My Hero Academia or look at My Hero Academia. It's a good analog for you. It's a superhero comic. It's manga, but it's superheroes. Go there, pick up My Hero Academia, look at how it's being advertised, and then do that. That's it. Just copy. Stop. Oh, thank you. My car is like, from out of nowhere, it's like route guidance is not active. Thank you for chiming in on this video. You get a cameo credit. Now I have to pay the fucking car royalties. Anyway, it's that simple. You have to do that. And if you put out a book that costs a high price, I mean, look, this is it. Like, this is the problem. You have a clear issue when you've got a pretty thick book of manga there at $6, and then next to it you have a book that the design looks old, because it does. It's not a good trade design. It doesn't stand out on the shelf. It looks old and crappy. And it costs $10 more for no apparent reason. Yeah, people are going to buy manga. Again, the manga book could be the wokest gayest, transiest shit you've ever seen in your life, it's still going to do better because it's cheaper. It's not rocket science. You can't go to market with something like this and have it work. Full stop. And when we talk about the publishers, the publishers should be fired. They absolutely must be, because your strategy in this area is ass. At the end. And the end of this video, let me know what you think. Thanks for listening.